그냥 이렇게 보고만 있을까요?
10수년을
어딨어?
이제 모두
내 딸 털끝 하나라도 건드리면
제 아빠로 살아줘요. 사랑해. 사랑받는 아이가 될 수 있도록.
죽은 듯 살던 인간이 갑자기 폭발했다 이 말이야!
너희들 전부 죽어.
The episode opens by introducing Kim Do-hyun, a quiet, ordinary-looking bank manager. He lives alone with his teenage daughter, Minji, after the death of his wife. On the surface, he's the definition of a harmless, middle-aged office worker. In one of the very first scenes, a rude thug gets angry at him over a trivial incident and punches him in the face. Instead of fighting back, Do-hyun simply accepts the humiliation, picks himself up, and goes home. Everyone who sees him assumes he's weak. At home, we see his relationship with Minji. He clearly loves her very much and worries about her constantly, but like many teenagers, she's distant and embarrassed by her father. Their conversations are awkward and strained. Do-hyun tries hard to connect with her, but she rarely responds warmly. Despite this, it's obvious that she is the most important person in his life. The drama then spends quite a bit of time showing Do-hyun's normal daily routine. He goes to work at the bank, where one of his colleagues, Sanga, notices how clueless he is about teenage trends. Since Minji's birthday is approaching, Sanga helps him choose an expensive gift that she thinks a teenage girl would actually like. These scenes are partly comedic, but also show how much effort Do-hyun puts into being a good father. Meanwhile, Minji's life at school is far from happy. She's being bullied by a wealthy and popular girl named Haeri. Haeri comes from a powerful family, and her father is Ju Kong-chan, a rich construction chairman with a frightening reputation. Haeri uses her status to intimidate other students and regularly targets Minji. The bullying gets worse when Haeri becomes jealous over a popular boy at school. She accuses Minji of getting too close to him and has her dragged away by her group. What starts as intimidation becomes deeply personal when Haeri mocks Minji's deceased mother. That is the one subject Minji cannot tolerate. She finally snaps and fights back, beating Haeri badly enough to shock everyone around her. This leads to one of the most emotional scenes in the episode. Do-hyun is called to deal with the situation. Because Haeri's father is rich and influential, everyone immediately takes his side. Rather than defending himself or his daughter, Do-hyun kneels and apologizes to Kong-chan, begging for forgiveness. He does this to protect Minji from greater consequences, but Minji is mortified. She sees her father humiliating himself in front of a powerful man and feels both angry and ashamed. The episode also introduces Do-hyun's two closest friends. One is Han-soo, who runs a taekwondo gym. The other is Jin-cho, a former Marine who now lives a much quieter life. The three men meet up, complain about getting older, joke about how their children no longer listen to them, and share drinks together. At first, they seem like ordinary middle-aged men, but the show subtly hints that there's much more to them than meets the eye. After the school incident, Minji becomes even more upset with her father. She says she's going to stay at a friend's house. Their relationship is tense, and neither of them properly resolves the argument before separating. The next morning, everything changes. Minji is missing. At first, it seems like she may simply have run away because of the argument, but it quickly becomes clear that something much more serious has happened. The cheerful family drama instantly turns into a thriller. Do-hyun begins searching for her, and the audience starts seeing flashes of a past that he has spent years hiding. This is where the huge twist of the episode is revealed. Kim Do-hyun is not actually an ordinary bank manager. Long before he became a father, he was an elite Black Ops operative. Sources within the show reveal that he had connections to North Korean covert operations and later became a double agent. He is considered incredibly dangerous and has spent years suppressing that part of himself in order to live peacefully with his daughter. Throughout the episode, there are little hints that his calm behavior isn't weakness at all, it's restraint. Every insult, every punch, every humiliation has been a conscious choice because he doesn't want the violent man he used to be to reemerge. The final minutes show that this restraint is ending. As Do-hyun follows clues connected to Minji's disappearance, he tracks down a man who may know something. The shy, apologetic bank manager vanishes. In his place is the cold, terrifying operative he used to be. The episode ends with him violently confronting the suspect, wrapping a girl's hair tie around the man's neck and demanding to know where Minji is. His eyes, posture, and entire personality have changed. It's the first real glimpse of the legendary Agent Kim. Episode 2 begins with a huge flashback that finally explains who Kim Do-hyun really was before becoming an ordinary father. Back in 2008, he wasn't Manager Kim at all. He was known as Agent Kim, one of the most feared operatives in Korea. He receives a mission to eliminate a high-ranking intelligence official who had been responsible for multiple assassinations. What follows is an intense pursuit that shows just how skilled and ruthless he used to be. During the operation, Agent Kim is officially declared dead, which effectively allows him to disappear from that life. The flashback then becomes much more emotional. At the same time as all of this, his wife is giving birth to Minji. Instead of a happy family moment, tragedy strikes. Minji survives, but Do-hyun's wife dies during childbirth. Before she dies, she asks him to leave behind his violent life and focus on being a father to their daughter. This promise becomes the reason he spent years suppressing the dangerous side of himself. The episode then shows several touching memories of Do-hyun raising Minji by himself. We see him attending school events, caring for her when she is young, celebrating birthdays, and struggling to fill both the mother and father role. Some of the sweetest moments show little Minji slowly growing attached to him and eventually calling him dad. These scenes are important because they remind viewers that finding Minji isn't just another mission. She is literally the entire reason he has kept living. Back in the present, Do-hyun continues searching for Minji. The frightening interrogation from the end of episode 1 continues. The man he captured reveals that Minji's disappearance is connected to a larger criminal network. Do-hyun begins tracing her final movements and uncovers evidence suggesting something terrible happened after she left school. Blood, witness statements, and suspicious behavior all point toward foul play. Meanwhile, viewers finally learn what actually happened to Minji after she disappeared. After the confrontation with her bully Haeri, things spiraled completely out of control. Haeri and the people around her try to intimidate Minji, but the situation turns violent. During the confrontation, Minji is seriously injured and collapses. The people involved panic because they believe she may be dead. Instead of calling for help, they start trying to cover everything up. This is where the episode gets much darker. Haeri is terrified because she knows her powerful father cannot simply make this disappear forever. Several criminals become involved as people attempt to hide evidence and protect themselves. What started as school bullying suddenly becomes a criminal conspiracy involving gangsters and powerful figures. One of the most interesting new characters introduced is a gangster nicknamed Gold Teeth. When he overhears information about what happened to Minji, he immediately realizes the situation could be useful to him. Rather than helping anyone, he starts collecting evidence and planning how he can profit from the scandal involving Haeri's wealthy family. He becomes a wild card player in the story. As Do-hyun investigates, we get to see much more of the legendary Agent Kim. The timid bank manager from episode 1 is basically gone. He tracks suspects down one by one, beats information out of criminals, and moves with terrifying efficiency. Every fight scene reinforces the same idea. The people responsible for Minji's disappearance have no idea who they are dealing with. The police become involved as well. Because Do-hyun is causing chaos everywhere he goes, authorities begin taking an interest in him. At one point, he's briefly detained, but even that can't stop him from pursuing clues. His entire focus is finding Minji before it's too late. Another major development is that people from Do-hyun's old intelligence world start hearing about his activities. His past, which he spent years hiding, is beginning to catch up with him. Both old allies and old enemies become aware that Agent Kim may have returned. This sets up bigger conflicts for future episodes. The ending is the biggest twist of the episode. Throughout most of episode 2, everyone believes Minji is dead or close to death. The criminals certainly think they've gotten rid of her. However, in the final moments, the audience discovers something crucial. Minji is still alive. She's badly injured and trapped, but her fingers move, revealing that she survived. Viewers end the episode knowing something that most of the characters don't know yet. While Do-hyun is preparing for revenge, his daughter is actually still out there waiting to be found. Episode 3 picks up immediately after the huge reveal at the end of episode 2 that Minji is still alive. The audience knows she's alive, but Agent Kim doesn't. He is still operating under the belief that his daughter may already be dead. This makes him even more dangerous because he has stopped caring about the consequences of his actions. He is no longer trying to hide his identity or keep a low profile. One of the biggest developments in episode 3 is that Kim finally stops working alone. His old friend Hansu, the Taekwondo gym owner, discovers just how serious the situation has become and decides to help him. Throughout the first 2 episodes, Hansu seemed like comic relief, but episode 3 reveals that he is far more capable than he appeared. He has serious fighting skills and is completely loyal to Kim. The episode spends a lot of time showing Kim tracking down everyone connected to Minji's disappearance. Rather than following official procedures, he basically tears through the criminal underworld. Anyone who might know something gets questioned. Anyone who lies gets dealt with. Several gang members quickly discover that the polite bank manager no longer exists. Agent Kim is fully back. Meanwhile, Minji's situation becomes even more heartbreaking. Viewers learn more about how isolated she actually was before everything happened. She wasn't just dealing with Haeri's bullying. She had very few people she could genuinely rely on, and several people she thought were friends either abandoned her or failed to help when she needed them most. Many viewers commented that these scenes were some of the saddest in the episode. There are also several emotional flashbacks between Kim and Minji. The show reminds viewers that despite all his skills, Kim was struggling as a single parent. He loved Minji more than anything, but he didn't always know what was happening in her life. Episode 3 shows him beginning to realize just how much pain she had been hiding from him. This creates a lot of guilt for him. The action scenes are a major focus of the episode. Kim and Hansu eventually find themselves entering enemy territory together. The pair fight their way through numerous thugs while chasing leads connected to the cover-up. These scenes have been getting a lot of praise from viewers because they show the contrast between Kim's ruthless efficiency and Hansu's martial arts abilities. Another important development is that Kim's actions are starting to attract attention from multiple powerful groups. It's no longer just a missing person case. Gangsters are involved. Wealthy families are involved. Government and intelligence figures are starting to notice that someone who was supposed to stay buried has returned. The web around Minji's disappearance becomes much larger than it first appeared. The villains also start becoming more desperate. Because Kim keeps getting closer to the truth, people involved in the cover-up begin making mistakes. They are used to intimidating ordinary people. They aren't used to dealing with someone who spent years as a Black Ops operative. Every time they think they have escaped him, he somehow finds another lead. One of the episode's recurring themes is fatherhood. Kim isn't fighting because he's a hero or because he's seeking revenge. He's fighting because he's a father. Several scenes compare his memories of raising Minji with the selfish actions of the wealthy parents protecting their own children from consequences against their children. The episode doesn't fully resolve Minji's situation. Instead, it keeps the suspense going. Kim gets closer than ever to finding where she is, But he still doesn't know the crucial fact that viewers know: Minji remains alive. The search intensifies, and the episode ends with the sense that a major rescue attempt is getting closer. Episode 4 opens with Agent Kim and Hansu in serious trouble after the events of Episode 3. They're being hunted from multiple directions at once: gangsters, corrupt figures connected to Minji's disappearance, and people from Kim's old intelligence world. Kim is no longer just investigating a missing person case, he's stumbled into something much bigger. One of the episode's biggest developments is that Kim, Hansu, and Jinchol finally start operating as a proper team again. The three old friends pool their information and begin tracing Minji's final known movements. A major clue comes from Minji's phone. They discover that a homeless man found it after someone threw it away, and CCTV footage helps them identify a suspect connected to a BMW seen in the area. This is the first genuinely strong lead they've had in several episodes. Meanwhile, the audience finally spends more time with Minji herself. The biggest twist of Episode 2 was that she survived. Episode 4 builds on that reveal. Minji regains consciousness and realizes she's still in danger. Instead of waiting passively for rescue, she starts trying to survive on her own. Despite being injured and weak, she looks for opportunities to escape and actively fights back against the people holding her. Many viewers have pointed out that this is the first episode where Minji feels like a protagonist in her own story, rather than simply the person everyone is searching for. At the same time, the villains are becoming increasingly desperate. Kim's investigation is getting too close to the truth. People who originally thought they could quietly cover up what happened to Minji are starting to panic. Mistakes are being made, alliances are becoming shaky, and several characters begin turning on each other to protect themselves. Another important storyline involves Goldtooth. The episode finally reveals more of his past. Through flashbacks, viewers learn that he suffered severe abuse and humiliation years earlier. He was betrayed, violently mistreated, and left with lasting physical and emotional scars. These scenes don't excuse his actions, but they explain why he became obsessed with revenge and why he's willing to involve himself in the chaos surrounding Minji's case. The action scenes are some of the biggest so far. There are multiple fights, chases, and confrontations throughout the episode. Kim continues to demonstrate why he was once considered such a dangerous operative. Hansu also gets several opportunities to show off his martial arts skills, while Jinchol proves he's far more useful than he initially appeared. The three of them together are becoming a serious problem for anyone involved in the conspiracy. Emotionally, Episode 4 keeps returning to the theme of family. Kim is still carrying enormous guilt. As he gets closer to the truth, he keeps remembering moments from Minji's childhood and realizing how much pain she was hiding from him. These scenes reinforce that this isn't just a mission for him. It's about the one person he cares about more than anything else. The episode builds toward a race against time. More and more characters converge on the same location connected to Minji. While Kim continues pushing toward the truth, Minji is simultaneously trying to save herself. By the end of the episode, it's confirmed once again that Minji is alive, conscious, and fighting to survive. But Kim still hasn't reached her yet. The rescue feels closer than ever, but the show stops before father and daughter can reunite.
The episode opens with a flashback to 2014, several years after Kim Do-hyun left his life as an elite operative. He and a young Minji have recently moved into a new neighborhood and are still adjusting to life together after the death of his wife. While Kim is distracted unpacking and sorting things out, Minji wanders away because she's curious about the area. When Kim notices she's gone, he panics almost immediately. At first, he assumes she's nearby, but as the minutes pass, his fear grows. He searches the streets, asks neighbors if they've seen her, and becomes increasingly desperate. Eventually, he discovers that Minji accidentally wandered into a local welfare center and had simply become locked inside. She's physically unharmed, but Kim is overwhelmed with relief. Instead of scolding her, he hugs her tightly and breaks down in tears. The flashback explains why, in the present day, he reacts so intensely to her disappearance. He has always been terrified of losing the only family he has left. Back in the present, Min-jae is still being held captive. Although she's exhausted and injured, she refuses to give up. Rather than waiting for someone to rescue her, she carefully studies her surroundings and watches her captors' routines. She notices moments when they become distracted and starts looking for an opportunity to escape. Eventually, she manages to climb out through a window. It's a tense sequence because she's still weak and could easily be caught. She runs through unfamiliar streets, trying to stay out of sight while looking for anyone she can trust. After narrowly avoiding being spotted, she encounters a teenage student who notices she's frightened and injured. Instead of ignoring her, the student offers help. For the first time since being kidnapped, it feels like Min-jae might actually escape. Meanwhile, Kim refuses to slow down. Using the CCTV footage and clues uncovered in episode 4, he continues tracking everyone connected to Min-jae's disappearance. He follows leads from one suspect to another, putting enormous pressure on the criminal network. His investigation eventually brings him face to face with a highly trained operative. At first, the confrontation looks like another brutal fight. Both men clearly have professional combat training, making this one of the most evenly matched battles in the series so far. During the fight, however, they recognize each other. The man isn't just another enemy, he's someone Kim worked with years ago during his intelligence days. The recognition changes the atmosphere instantly. Instead of two strangers fighting, it's two former comrades who have ended up on opposite sides. The encounter raises more questions than answers about how Kim's past is connected to everything happening now. Han-soo and Jin-cheol continue helping Kim throughout the investigation. Rather than letting Kim shoulder everything himself, they divide up tasks, chase different leads, and support him whenever he needs backup. The friendship between the three men becomes one of the strongest parts of the episode. Even though Kim rarely asks for help, they refuse to leave him to fight alone. The villains, meanwhile, begin losing control. As Kim keeps uncovering evidence, the people responsible for covering up Min-jae's kidnapping start turning against one another. Panic spreads because they realize Kim is much closer to the truth than they expected. The conspiracy is no longer just about protecting Hyrai after the school incident. Multiple groups now have their own reasons for hiding what happened, and their conflicting interests make the situation increasingly unstable. The emotional climax comes when Kim finally finds Min-jae. After everything both of them have been through, father and daughter are reunited. For the first time in the series, Kim completely drops the cold, controlled personality that has defined him since becoming Agent Kim again. He rushes to Min-jae, embraces her, and breaks down crying. He's overwhelmed by relief, guilt, and fear all at once. He apologizes for not finding her sooner and promises to keep her safe. Min-jae, despite everything she's endured, comforts him. It's a touching reversal of roles, with the daughter reassuring her father. Many viewers considered this the emotional highlight of the episode, because it reminds everyone that, beneath the legendary operative, Kim is simply a father desperate to protect his child. Although Min-jae is finally safe, Kim quickly realizes that the danger isn't over. The kidnapping wasn't an isolated crime. Too many powerful people are involved, and several of them now see Kim and Min-jae as threats. Instead of ending the story, the reunion marks the beginning of a new phase. Kim is no longer just searching for his daughter. He now has to uncover the full conspiracy and stop the people responsible before they strike again. The episode ends with the feeling that the family has won an important battle, but the larger war is only beginning. Episode 6 opens with the biggest flashback of the series so far, taking viewers all the way back to 1997. Instead of focusing on Kim's life as a father, the drama finally explores his childhood. Young Kim is shown growing up in a brutal North Korean military orphanage where children are selected and trained to become future operatives. They aren't treated like children at all. They're pushed through harsh physical training and taught that weakness has no place in their lives. Among the trainees is another boy who becomes incredibly important later in the story, Code 66. The two boys survive the training together and develop a bond. The flashback helps explain why Kim became so emotionally closed off. Everything he learned as a child taught him to suppress fear, pain, and attachment in order to survive. Back in the present, Kim is still desperately trying to reach Min-jae. The confrontation with Code 66 continues almost immediately. At first they fight as enemies, but during the struggle both men realize the other survived events they believed had happened years ago. Rather than being a straightforward villain, Code 66 has his own tragic history, and the episode starts revealing that the rivalry between them is built on years of misunderstandings, betrayal, and manipulation. Kim begins questioning whether the people who told him what happened in the past were telling the truth. The fight is interrupted before either man can finish it. Sang-ah and Mr. I.M. arrive unexpectedly. It's revealed they weren't simply helping Kim out of kindness. They had secretly been following him because they believed he'd eventually lead them to Code 66. Although everyone is technically on different sides, nobody has time to settle old scores because finding Min-jae is becoming more urgent than ever. During all of this, Kim has been hiding something from everyone. Han-soo eventually notices that Kim has been fighting while carrying a gunshot wound. Instead of stopping to recover, Kim quietly treats the wound himself and immediately continues the search. Han-soo is frustrated because Kim refuses to slow down, but he also understands exactly why. To Kim, every minute spent resting is another minute that Min-jae remains in danger. Jin-cheol officially joins the rescue mission. The three old friends begin working almost like a professional tactical team. Each person takes responsibility for different parts of the investigation while sharing every clue they find. Their friendship is becoming one of the emotional strengths of the series, balancing the darker storyline with moments of loyalty and humor. A breakthrough comes from an unexpected witness. The trio track down a homeless man who remembers seeing someone throw away Min-jae's mobile phone. At first he seems unimportant, but after thinking carefully, he remembers seeing Kim Sang-man toss the phone into a rubbish bin before driving away in a white BMW. It's the first concrete lead they've had in some time, and Kim immediately begins tracing the vehicle. Meanwhile, the episode spends much more time exploring Golden Teeth. Until now, he'd mostly seemed like a ruthless gangster, but episode 6 explains how he became that way. Years earlier, he worked under another crime boss during a redevelopment project. Instead of rewarding his loyalty, his own boss betrayed him by pushing him off a rooftop. Miraculously, he survived. The betrayal completely changed him. After recovering, he hunted down everyone involved and eventually killed his former boss to take control of the organization. However, even after becoming a crime boss himself, he was still humiliated by the much more powerful Kang Chan. During one confrontation, his jaw was badly damaged, eventually leading to the gold teeth that gave him his nickname. The flashbacks don't excuse his cruelty, but they explain why revenge has become the driving force behind almost everything he does. While Kim gets closer, Min-jae continues fighting for herself. She's moved into a freezing warehouse and locked inside cold storage. Even though she's exhausted and suffering from the cold, she refuses to give up. She slowly frees herself, searches for a way out, and watches carefully for opportunities to escape. The parallel between father and daughter becomes even clearer. Both refuse to stop no matter how impossible the situation looks. Golden Teeth believes Min-jae is about to die. He even orders Kim Sang-man to prepare photographic evidence that can be used to convince everyone she's dead. Before he can finish the plan, he's interrupted by a phone call from Kang Chan. Kang Chan has already begun manipulating the entire situation. Rather than protecting Golden Teeth, he's preparing to make him the fall guy for everything that's happened. Once Golden Teeth has served his purpose, Kang Chan intends to dump all the blame on him and walk away clean. Following the white BMW, Kim finally reaches the harbor. He confronts Kim Sang-man and Park Gang-min. Instead of trying to negotiate, Kim launches straight into another brutal fight while demanding to know where Min-jae is. The action scenes are among the longest in the series so far, with Kim refusing to stop even after everything he's already endured. Just as the rescue seems within reach, a hidden bomb explodes underneath Kim's vehicle. The explosion destroys the car and fills the area with smoke. The villains assume everyone inside has been killed. However, Han-soo survives. Realizing Kim still has a chance to reach Min-jae, Han-soo deliberately keeps the attackers occupied while Kim slips away unnoticed. It's one of Han-soo's bravest moments in the series, showing how willing he is to risk his own life for his friend. Inside the warehouse, Min-jae finally gets her chance. Golden Teeth leaves briefly after receiving Kang-chan's phone call. Seeing the door left open, Min-jae quietly begins moving toward freedom. For a few seconds, it genuinely looks as though she's going to escape. Then she accidentally makes a small noise. Golden Teeth stops walking. He slowly turns around. He realizes she's still alive. The episode ends at that exact moment, leaving viewers wondering whether she'll be caught again or finally escape. Episode 7 begins with a flashback showing the end of Kim's military career. After completing a dangerous operation, Kim confronts Director Jang and reminds him of his promise that he would be discharged. Some officials argue Kim should never be released because North Korea believes he's dead, and revealing he's alive could create a political crisis. Despite their objections, Director Jang honors his promise, saying Kim has already sacrificed enough and can always be called back if the country needs him again. After leaving the agency, Kim meets Han-soo and Jin Cheol before visiting his late wife's memorial. He then goes to the hospital, where he holds baby Min-jae for the first time. These memories explain why protecting his daughter became the most important part of his life. The story returns to the present immediately after episode 6. Kim takes Do-yoon hostage and forces everyone to lower their weapons. Once Min-jae reaches him safely, he apologizes for arriving too late and promises they'll finally go home together. Their original vehicle can't be used, so the group takes another car. Before leaving, Jin Cheol rigs fake explosives to delay anyone who tries to follow them. On the way, Kim is stopped by Sang and Mr. Lim. Kim reminds them that he promised to surrender once Min-jae was safe, but only after making sure she is protected. He tells them to meet him later at his house, then continues on with Han-soo, Jin Cheol, and Min-jae. For the first time in days, father and daughter are able to relax together. Min-jae tells Kim she's hungry, and the group stops at a restaurant. Their conversation is awkward but heartfelt as they slowly reconnect after everything they've been through. Unknown to them, one of Ju Kang-chan's men spots them and reports their location. Soon afterward, several trucks surround their vehicle and trap it inside a larger transport truck. Kim reassures Min-jae that she has nothing to fear because he'll protect her. When Jin Cheol gets out to investigate, the attackers release sleeping gas. He begins losing consciousness, while Han-soo refuses to open the doors because Min-jae is still inside. The gang believes everyone has been knocked out, but Kim and Han-soo recover and launch a surprise counterattack. During the confusion, Jin Cheol wakes himself up and fights off the attackers inside the truck while protecting Min-jae. Kim chases the moving truck by leaping onto it and eventually helps stop it. After defeating the kidnappers, the group learns they were working for Ju Kang-chan, confirming who is behind the latest attack. Determined to end everything, Kim heads straight to Ju Kang-chan's headquarters. Leaving his friends behind, he fights his way through Kang-chan's guards before confronting him face to face. Kang-chan tries to persuade Kim to work for him, arguing that both of them have done terrible things for the sake of their daughters. Kim rejects the offer, accusing Kang-chan of hiding behind money and power while hurting innocent people. A brutal fight follows. Although Kang-chan tries to defend himself, Kim quickly overpowers him. As Kim prepares to finish him, Min-jae intervenes and begs her father to stop. Respecting her wishes, Kim spares Kang-chan's life but forces him to apologize to Min-jae for everything he has done. With the immediate danger over, Kim takes Min-jae home and quietly celebrates the birthday they missed while she was kidnapped. They share a meal, and Kim finally tells her about his past, explaining that he came from North Korea, fell in love with her mother, and promised her before she died that he would leave his old life behind and become a normal father. Min-jae asks about her mother, and Kim tells her she was kind, beautiful, and reminded him very much of Min-jae herself. He also gives her the birthday gift he bought long ago, but never had the chance to give her. Keeping his promise, Kim then surrenders to director Jang on the condition that Min-jae will be kept safe. Han-soo and Jin-cheol are arrested as well after helping him throughout the rescue. In the aftermath, Ju Kang-chan immediately begins using his political connections to protect himself. Golden Teeth survives once again and receives a new set of gold teeth, symbolizing his return. Sang is punished for helping Kim, while Han-soo and Jin-cheol end up sharing a jail cell. The episode ends with the biggest twist yet. While Kim is being transported, unknown agents secretly take custody of him. Blindfolded and injected with a sedative, he has no idea where he's being taken. When he finally wakes up, he realizes he is back in North Korea. A senior official welcomes him home before preparing to interrogate him, ending the episode on a major cliffhanger that sets up Episode 8. Episode 8 opens with Agent Kim waking up in what appears to be a North Korean interrogation facility. A senior officer relentlessly tortures him, demanding to know everything about the secret operations he carried out in South Korea and who ordered them. Kim refuses to answer a single question. Even after boiling water is poured over him and a red-hot iron rod is used to torture him, he stays silent. The interrogator finally threatens Min-jae, promising to torture her even more brutally if Kim continues refusing to talk. The threat turns out to be exactly what Kim was waiting for. Pretending to be unconscious, he suddenly attacks when the interrogator gets close enough. Kim grabs an exposed electrical wire, shocks the man, then kills him by slashing his throat. As Kim escapes the room, he is immediately met by director Young and Gukcheol. They reveal that the entire interrogation was staged inside South Korea as a final loyalty test. Director Young tells Kim he always believed he would never betray them, proving Gukcheol's suspicions wrong. Director Young then presents Kim with one final mission. A high-ranking North Korean defector has fled to China before secretly entering South Korea to request asylum. At the same time, an official North Korean delegation is arriving for important inter-Korean talks. Kim's job is to protect the defector until the diplomatic visit is over. Once the mission is complete, Kim and Min-jae will receive completely new identities and finally be allowed to live peacefully. Kim agrees, but only on one condition: Han-soo and Jin-cheol must be released. Director Young accepts. Meanwhile, Han-soo and Jin-cheol are told they are being transferred. Medical staff attempt to sedate them with injections. Han-soo struggles but is eventually injected and loses consciousness. Jin-cheol also takes several injections before finally passing out. When they wake up, both men discover they've been dumped in a remote rural area with their hands tied. Han-soo manages to free himself after spotting a hidden key nearby, but selfishly runs off before helping Jin-cheol. Jin-cheol has been pretending to be unconscious the whole time and calls after him in frustration. The two eventually reunite in a small village and realize they've been abandoned all the way down in Hinam, one of the southernmost parts of South Korea. They are both furious when they realize how far they've been sent. Elsewhere, Gang-chan is still haunted by his defeat at Kim's hands. At the same time, preparations begin for the upcoming diplomatic summit, with Assemblyman Shim focused on the political and financial opportunities it will bring. Gang-chan orders his people to continue searching for Kim and Min-jae, but they discover every official record connected to them has disappeared. Jin-cheol finally returns home. His daughter complains about the embarrassing t-shirt he wears with her picture printed on it, while his wife is annoyed by his sudden return and refuses to let him near her until he showers. Although played for comedy, the scene also shows how much Jin-cheol misses his family. The mysterious North Korean defector finally arrives. Kim greets him, only to discover the man is someone from his own past, Ryong, an influential North Korean official. Ryong explains that he personally requested Kim as his bodyguard because he believes no one else is capable of protecting him. A flashback reveals why Ryong defected. After a previous mission failed because classified information had been leaked, North Korean leaders accused Ryong of being the traitor. Soldiers attempted to arrest him, but he fought back, killed them, and escaped the country. Back in the present, Kim escorts Ryong to a secure safe house. Sung and Mr. Lim are assigned to assist with security, Before beginning the mission, Kim asks about Min-jae's safety. Guk-cheol assures him she is under protection, although Kim clearly doesn't trust him. At the safe house, Kim remembers learning years ago that Ryong's betrayal caused one of his closest teammates to die during a failed mission. At the same time, he thinks back to Min-jae encouraging him before they separated, promising she would stay strong and wait for him to come home safely. Meanwhile, Gang-chan receives unexpected information from Do-yoon about Kim's identity and his connection to Ryong. Realizing how valuable this information is, Gang-chan begins planning to use it for his own benefit. Han-soo and Jin-cheol try to return to ordinary life. Han-soo is called to his son's school after his son gets into a fight. Instead of simply scolding him, Han-soo demonstrates how painful fighting really is by sparring with him, although his son still stubbornly kicks him before running away. At the same time, Ryong argues with Kim. He claims they are alike, but then insists there is one major difference. He considers himself a defector seeking survival, while he accuses Kim of betraying his own homeland. News broadcasts announce that the North Korean delegation has officially arrived in South Korea. During the welcoming ceremony, one of the visiting officials secretly learns that Ryong is hiding in South Korea under government protection. Gang-chan privately approaches him, reveals that he knows Ryong's location, and offers the information in exchange for gold. However, he specifically asks that Kim be left alive because he wants revenge personally. Soon afterwards, Kim notices suspicious vehicles approaching the safe house through the security cameras. He quickly evacuates Ryong. Sung and Mr. Lim deliberately drive away in one vehicle as a decoy, while Kim secretly hides Ryong inside the house until the attackers leave. Once the coast is clear, Kim quietly retrieves him and escapes. As they drive away, Kim realizes the attackers somehow knew their exact location. He tells Sung not to report their movements back to headquarters because he now suspects there is a mole inside the agency leaking classified information. Kim takes Ryong to one of Jin-cheol's hidden safe houses, where Han-soo and Jin-cheol are already waiting. Both men are shocked to see Ryong and explain that the agency also contacted them asking for help, but they refused. Just as they begin planning their next move, Guk-cheol suddenly arrives with a full SMD team. He orders Ryong to surrender immediately. Kim is stunned, believing they are still carrying out the original mission, but Guk-cheol coldly reveals that he never supported the operation in the first place. To force Kim into obedience, Guk-cheol shows him a live feed of Min-jae under SMD control and reminds him that her safety depends entirely on his cooperation. Kim is forced to surrender his weapon as Guk-cheol declares the mission over and warns that Kim may never see his daughter again. The episode ends with Kim trapped once more, powerless as Min-jae becomes the leverage used against him. Episode 9 begins with Chairman Ju and the North Korean forces putting their biggest plan into motion after discovering the whereabouts of Agent Kim and General Eng-rae. At the same time, an important diplomatic meeting between North and South Korea is about to begin. However, the talks are suddenly cancelled when North Korea demands that South Korea hand over both General Eng-rae and the wanted fugitive Agent Kim. They even threaten to destroy diplomatic relations if their demands are ignored. With no other option, both governments begin hunting Agent Kim and General Eng-rae. Meanwhile, the North Korean general enjoys watching South Korea being forced into a corner as his larger plans slowly unfolds. Elsewhere, Kang Guk-cheol is ordered to hand Agent Kim and Eng-rae over to the North Korean military. General Jang makes it clear that Eng-rae must stay alive until they learn everything he knows about the ballistic missile program. However, Kim's fate doesn't concern them. General Jang is convinced that Kim will eventually escape because he'll do anything to reunite with his daughter. Just as the transfer begins, Jin-cheol and Han-seo prepare to rescue Kim. Unfortunately, Eng-rae and Kim are separated. Eng-rae is scheduled for execution while Kim is taken directly to Chairman Ju. Instead of killing him immediately, Chairman Ju tries to use him as leverage. During the journey, Kim suddenly fights back inside the vehicle, and right on cue, Jin-cheol and Han-seo arrive to rescue him. Realizing he's losing control, Chairman Ju offers Kim a deal. If Kim keeps him alive, he'll reveal where Aang Rai is being held. Kim accepts because saving Aang Rai has become his top priority. Meanwhile, Min Jae continues waiting anxiously for news about her father, completely unaware of the danger he's in. At the border, North Korean officer Jang Tae-san orders his men to tighten security because he suspects another rescue attempt is coming. To fool everyone, they transport what appears to be Aang Rai's dead body. However, it's only a trick. Aang Rai is still alive and is taken to a heavily guarded hotel where the North Korean general personally interrogates him. The general isn't interested in the missile information anymore. Instead, he demands access to secret funds hidden in Macau that financed covert operations against South Korea. Aang Rai had hidden the access chip inside his private safe, and the North Koreans want the keycard before allowing him to live. Back at headquarters, Kim reunites with his allies, including Sang-ah and Uncle Lim. They discover that Aang Rai is being held on the 5th floor of a luxury hotel surrounded by both North and South Korean military forces. Breaking in seems impossible. Chairman Ju finally reveals a hidden underground passage leading directly into the hotel. Agent Kim immediately creates a daring rescue plan. The team has only 10 minutes to enter the building, locate Aang Rai, and escape before the entire operation is exposed. That night, everyone takes their positions. Jin Chul and Sang-ah disguise themselves as hotel chefs while secretly hiding Han Seo inside a catering trolley. Uncle Lim poses as a laundry worker to move around unnoticed, while Kim heads straight for the upper floors alone. The disguises work perfectly. Jin Chul's team quietly takes over the CCTV control room, knocking out every guard without raising suspicion. Sang-ah searches through the security cameras and finally discovers Aang Rai's exact location, a VIP room on the 5th floor. Kim races there immediately. Inside the room, Aang Rai is being brutally tortured for information. Before the interrogation can continue, Kim suddenly storms in, taking everyone by surprise and quickly overpowering the North Korean general. With only 5 minutes remaining, the rescue begins. Kim frees Aang Rai while his teammates eliminate guards throughout the hotel. Jin Chul and Han Seo distract dozens of soldiers, allowing Kim to move through the building unnoticed. However, Jang Tae-san soon discovers something is wrong. After restoring the hotel's CCTV system, he finally spots Kim's team and immediately activates the emergency plan. He orders an EMP bomb to be detonated, instantly shutting down all electricity inside the hotel and plunging every floor into complete darkness. Even in total darkness, Kim continues fighting his way through wave after wave of North Korean soldiers. Jin Chul and Han Seo manage to defeat nearly 20 enemies, but more soldiers quickly surround them. The countdown continues. Kim finally reaches the loading bay where Uncle Lim was supposed to be waiting. But when he arrives, Uncle Lim has mysteriously disappeared. Heavy gunfire erupts as Kim desperately searches for another escape route. At the same time, Han Seo faces Jang Tae-san in a brutal one-on-one fight. Tae-san, an elite judo expert, knows exactly how to counter Han Seo's taekwondo techniques. Although Han Seo is pushed to his absolute limit, he eventually manages to defeat him after an exhausting battle. Elsewhere, Chairman Ju secretly burns through his restraints and escapes. Instead of running away, he reveals his true backup plan. Just when Kim's team believes they're about to escape, Chairman Ju shows Jin Chul and Han Seo a shocking video. Their children have been kidnapped and are being held hostage. The rescue mission instantly turns into a nightmare. With Agent Kim trapped, Aang Rai surrounded, and their families now in danger, the team is left with no good options. Episode 9 ends on a massive cliffhanger. The final episode of Agent Kim delivers an emotional conclusion that brings every storyline full circle. After everything Manager Kim, Han-soo, and Jin Cheol have endured, their greatest battle is no longer against enemies. It is against each other. Forced into an impossible situation, the three brothers-in-arms must make heartbreaking choices to protect the people they love, while the truth behind Juhak Construction's corruption is finally exposed. The episode begins with Gang Chan putting his final plan into motion. After carefully manipulating events behind the scenes, he kidnaps the children of both Han-soo and Jin-cheol. With their families held hostage, he gives them an impossible order. If they want to see their children alive again, they must kill Manager Kim. For Han-soo and Jin-cheol, this is a nightmare. Manager Kim is not just an ally, he is someone they trust like family. But as fathers, they cannot ignore the lives of their own children. Torn between loyalty and love, they reluctantly confront Manager Kim, knowing that no matter what happens, someone they care about will suffer. Manager Kim immediately understands why they have come. Rather than blaming them, he recognizes the impossible choice they have been forced to make. What follows is one of the most emotional fights in the entire series. Every punch they throw carries hesitation instead of hatred. None of them truly wants to fight, yet Gang Chan has trapped them in a situation where they feel they have no other option. As the battle continues, Manager Kim notices a brief opening. Acting without hesitation, he turns the fight against the real enemy. His quick thinking allows the three men to reunite instead of remaining divided, and together they launch one final assault against Gang Chan's forces. With their combined strength, Gang Chan's carefully constructed plan completely falls apart. The man who believed he could destroy their bond instead watches it become stronger than ever. His manipulation fails because the trust between Manager Kim, Han-soo, and Jin-cheol proves impossible to break. At the same time, the truth surrounding Juhak construction finally comes to light. Years of corruption, abuse of power, and hidden crimes are exposed for everyone to see. The organization that had operated above the law for so long finally collapses under the weight of its own secrets. Those responsible are arrested, investigated, and forced to face justice for everything they have done. Gang Chan's downfall is especially satisfying. After spending so long believing he controlled everyone around him, his empire crumbles in front of his eyes. During his transfer into custody, Gold Teeth finally takes revenge for everything he has suffered over the years, humiliating Gang Chan before his life of power comes to an end. Meanwhile, Ju Hairai's attempt to escape also fails. No matter how far she tries to run from the consequences of her actions, the past eventually catches up with her. The finale makes it clear that nobody involved in Juhak Construction's crimes is able to avoid justice. Although the villains have fallen, Manager Kim's own journey is far from over. To ensure everyone he cares about can finally live in peace, he erases every remaining trace of his existence. Even North Korea officially declares the legendary agent known as 66 dead, symbolically bringing an end to the ghost he had become. For the world, Manager Kim no longer exists. Believing he has sacrificed everything once again, Min-jae visits the memorial dedicated to her parents. Still grieving, she believes she has lost Manager Kim forever. Then, in one of the most emotional moments of the series, someone quietly approaches from behind. Manager Kim steps out of the silence, removes his glasses, and reveals himself to her. After everything they have endured, the two finally reunite. Without saying much, their embrace says everything words cannot. It is the emotional reward viewers have been waiting for since the beginning of the story, proving that despite all the violence and sacrifice, the greatest victory was simply finding the way back home. Wanting to leave their painful past behind, the two decide to start over completely. Min-jae takes the new name Kim Jae-min, while Manager Kim also accepts a new identity. Their new names symbolize far more than a legal change. They represent a chance to live without constantly looking over their shoulders, free from the battles that defined their previous lives. Before beginning this new chapter, Manager Kim quietly visits Mr. I.M., the humble dry cleaner who showed him kindness without ever expecting anything in return. As a final act of trust, Manager Kim reveals his real name for the very first time. It is a small but incredibly meaningful moment, showing that he is finally ready to stop hiding from the world. As peace slowly returns, Manager Kim, Han-soo, and Jin-cheol are shown living ordinary lives once again. The three friends are even seen wearing new pairs of glasses, a subtle visual symbol that they now see the world differently. Instead of living as soldiers trapped by endless conflict, they have finally been given another chance to live as ordinary men. However, the story is not completely over. In the closing moments of the finale, Manager Kim unexpectedly encounters Lee Do-jae, the head of Biko Manpower Agency. Although the meeting is brief, Manager Kim effortlessly demonstrates that his incredible instincts and abilities have never disappeared. The encounter strongly hints that while his mission to protect his family has finally come to an end, another dangerous assignment may already be waiting for him. The episode ends on that intriguing note, leaving viewers with a clear tease that Agent Kim's story is far from finished. With old battles finally behind him and a new future ahead, Manager Kim walks away from his past. But the final scene suggests that an even greater mission could await him, paving the way for a possible Season 2.